Ever felt like the world is shouting while your soul is whisper quiet, yet you can't shake the feeling that a massive shift is heading your way? Welcome back. I'm glad you made it here, because the fact that you're watching this alone right now isn't a coincidence. It's an appointment. Today, we are diving deep into what it truly means to be chosen, the heavy price of the calling, and the incredible rewards waiting on the other side of your current struggle. You're going to learn exactly why you've been feeling so out of place and how to harness that isolation into power. Stay with me, because by the end of this session, the confusion you've been carrying is going to transform into a clear, divine roadmap for your next chapter. Let's get into it. For those who feel a deeper resonance with these truths and are ready to walk this path with greater intention, I invite you to join our inner circle of light. This space is reserved for the souls seeking more than just surface-level insight, offering exclusive access to profound teachings and early transmissions that aren't shared with the world at large. It is not a journey for everyone, but if you feel the pull to go deeper and strengthen your divine connection alongside a dedicated collective, we are ready to welcome you home. Your seat at the table is waiting whenever you feel the call to step through the door. Being chosen often feels like a slow withdrawal from the world you once knew, a process that begins when your interests and values no longer align with the crowd. This isolation isn't a punishment, but a protective barrier, keeping your energy pure while you are being prepared for a higher purpose. You might find that old friendships fade or social settings feel draining, simply because your frequency is shifting toward a mission that requires deep internal focus rather than external validation. This sense of being set apart acts as a filter, removing distractions that would otherwise hinder your spiritual growth. In the quiet of your own company, you are forced to confront your own shadows and light without the noise of public opinion. It is in this solitude that your true identity is forged, away from the expectations of a society that rewards conformity over authenticity. When you are chosen, the universe intentionally creates a gap between you and the collective to ensure your instructions come from a divine source rather than human influence. You are being moved into a sacred space where your intuition can sharpen, allowing you to hear the subtle whispers of guidance that others miss in the chaos. This period of being alone is actually a period of being all one with the source of your strength. The emotional weight of this isolation can be heavy, especially when those around you misunderstand your need for distance. It requires a profound level of courage to stand in the stillness while everyone else is running in circles. However, this distance is necessary because the path you are on is unique. It cannot be walked in a group, as the lessons you must learn are specifically tailored to your individual soul's blueprint. Ultimately, accepting the isolation of the chosen means recognizing that you are never truly alone, but rather shielded. This phase is temporary yet vital, serving as the foundation for the leadership and influence you will eventually wield. By embracing the solitude now, you are anchoring yourself so deeply in your truth that no future storm will be able to move you from your center. Divine timing functions on a clock that the human mind often struggles to comprehend, appearing as a series of coincidences that are actually meticulously planned encounters. You might feel as though you are waiting in a long hallway, but every second of that wait is serving a specific cosmic requirement for your evolution. Understanding this timing means releasing the anxiety of when and trusting that everything is unfolding exactly as it should for your highest good. The reason this specific message or realization has reached you right now is that your spirit has finally reached the level of maturity required to handle it. Information given too early can be a burden, while information given too late is a missed opportunity. Divine timing ensures the delivery is perfect. You are currently at a crossroads where your past preparation meets a future opportunity, and the synchronicity of this moment is your green light to move forward. Many people mistake a delay for a denial, but in the realm of the chosen, a delay is often a divine redirection or a period of necessary refinement. There are behind-the-scenes movements occurring in your life, connections being made and obstacles being removed that you cannot yet see with your physical eyes. Trusting the timing means knowing that if a door hasn't opened yet, it is because the room behind it is still being prepared for your arrival. You may notice that certain events in your life are suddenly accelerating after years of stagnation, which is a hallmark of a transition in divine cycles. This sudden shift is meant to align you with people and places that resonate with your new vibration. It requires you to be fully present, letting go of the how so that the why can manifest with effortless grace and precision. Recognizing divine timing allows you to move with the flow of life rather than fighting against the current. It brings a sense of peace that surpasses understanding because you realize that the universe is never late. Every delay has been a blessing in disguise, and every now is a gift that provides exactly what you need to take the next step toward your ultimate destiny. The silent season is often misunderstood as a period of abandonment, but it is actually the most intense phase of your spiritual construction. When the world goes quiet and the guidance you once relied on seems to vanish, it is because the divine is moving you from milk to solid food. This silence is a workshop where your character is tested and your inner strength is solidified, ensuring that when you finally step into the light, you have the substance to stay there. It is the time when the deep roots are grown, hidden beneath the surface, preparing to support the massive expansion that is coming. In this stillness, your internal dialogue becomes the primary focus, forcing you to filter out the echoes of other people's expectations. Without the constant feedback of the world, you are pushed to find your own voice and to trust your own inner compass. This is where the ego is dismantled and the true self begins to breathe, learning that silence is not empty, but full of the answers you were previously too busy to hear. You are being taught that your worth is not tied to your productivity or your social visibility, but to your existence and your connection to the source. Solitude acts as a crucible that burns away the superficial layers of your personality that no longer serve your higher calling. It is a lonely process because the work being done is so specific to your soul that no one else can assist you in it. During this time, you may feel as though you are being forgotten, but you are actually being hidden away for your own protection. Like a seed in the dark earth, you are undergoing a metamorphosis that requires total darkness to trigger the breakthrough into a new form of life. The breakthrough you are seeking is directly proportional to the depth of the silence you can endure. Those who run from the quiet never develop the spiritual stamina required to lead or to innovate. By staying present in the silent season, you are proving your faithfulness to the mission, showing that you can remain steadfast even when there are no cheers or immediate rewards. This period refines your hearing, so that when the silence finally breaks, you are able to distinguish the subtle frequencies of your next assignment with absolute clarity. When the silent season concludes, you emerge with a renewed sense of authority that cannot be faked or bought. You carry a quiet confidence that comes from knowing you survived the wilderness and came out stronger on the other side. The lessons learned in the dark become the light you share with others, and the solitude you once feared becomes the sanctuary you cherish. You realize that God didn't go silent because he left, but because he was working on a masterpiece that required your total, undivided attention. Breaking ancestral chains is a heavy responsibility that falls on the shoulders of the chosen, requiring you to confront patterns that have plagued your lineage for generations. You are the one who has been empowered to say no more to the cycles of lack, trauma, or addiction that your predecessors were unable to overcome. This work is often painful because it requires you to heal wounds you didn't personally cause, but it is the most vital contribution you can make to your family's future. You are the bridge between a troubled past and a liberated future, carrying the torch that lights the way for those yet to be born. The reason you have always felt like the black sheep or the outsider in your family is that you were never meant to fit into the dysfunction. Your discomfort was a divine signal that you were designed for a different frequency, one that would eventually shatter the glass ceilings placed over your bloodline. By refusing to conform to toxic traditions or limiting beliefs, you are effectively rewriting the spiritual DNA of your entire history. This resistance you feel from others is often just their own fear of the change you represent, as your growth highlights the stagnation they have accepted. To end these cycles, you must first do the internal work of identifying the subtle ways these ancestral traits manifest in your own life. It requires a level of honesty and awareness that most people avoid, as it involves deconstructing your upbringing and choosing which parts to keep and which to discard. As you heal yourself, you are simultaneously sending a healing frequency backward through your lineage and forward into your future. You are the specialized instrument of change, equipped with the specific strengths needed to dismantle the strongholds that held your ancestors captive. This role as a chain breaker means you will often walk a path of extreme loneliness as you are moving in a direction no one in your family has ever traveled. You are creating a new blueprint from scratch, without the benefit of a roadmap or a mentor within your immediate circle. However, the universe provides you with supernatural support because your success is tied to the liberation of many. Every time you choose peace over chaos or abundance over scarcity, you are snapping a link in the chain that has bound your family for decades. The ultimate reward of this labor is the creation of a new legacy that is defined by freedom, health, and spiritual alignment. By the time you finish your work, the path will be so clear that the generations following you will not have to fight the same battles you did. You are not just living for yourself, you are the fulfillment of your ancestors' unsaid prayers and the foundation for your descendants' highest potential. Your life is the evidence that the cycle has been broken, and the legacy you leave behind will be one of triumph rather than struggle. The weight of the calling is a burden that often feels invisible to the outside world, manifesting as a deep sense of responsibility that never truly rests. You carry the expectations of a higher purpose that requires you to hold yourself to a standard far beyond that of the average person. This pressure isn't about achieving worldly success, but about maintaining spiritual integrity in a world that constantly invites you to compromise. It is a heavy mantle that demands your constant attention, often making simple, carefree living feel like a distant memory as you navigate the complexities of your soul's mission. This internal pressure frequently leads to battles that you must fight in total secrecy, as few can comprehend the stakes involved in your personal growth. You are often pushed to your absolute limits, forced to confront fears and insecurities that others are allowed to ignore. The weight comes from the knowledge that your choices affect more than just your own life. They impact the collective energy and the people you are destined to lead. It is a solitary struggle where your only comfort is the conviction that the struggle itself is proof of the significance of your path. Sacrifice is the silent partner of the chosen, as the calling often requires you to let go of things that others hold dear. You may have to walk away from comfort, conventional security, or even relationships that cannot survive the intensity of your transformation. The weight is felt in these moments of release, where you must choose the unknown path of the spirit over the familiar path of the flesh. These sacrifices are not losses, but essential lightenings of your load, ensuring that you are not weighed down by anything that cannot survive the atmosphere of your destination. The emotional exhaustion that accompanies this journey is a sign that you are operating at a high level of spiritual output. There are days when the calling feels like too much to bear, and the desire to be normal becomes a tempting escape. However, the weight is also what grounds you, preventing you from being swept away by the superficialities of life. It acts as an anchor, keeping you focused on the eternal rather than the temporary, even when the cost of that focus is a weary heart and a tired mind. Ultimately, the weight of the calling is the very thing that prepares you to carry the glory that follows. You are being strengthened under the pressure, much like a diamond is formed deep within the earth. This burden is a sign of trust from the divine, a recognition that you possess the spiritual backbone to stand tall under the gravity of a great mission. As you continue to carry it, you realize that the weight is not meant to crush you, but to mold you into a vessel capable of holding the immense power and light you were born to share. Discerning the voice of the divine requires a radical sharpening of your internal senses to distinguish between the noise of the world and the whisper of truth. It is a process of unlearning the loud, frantic demands of the ego, which often speaks in tones of fear, urgency, and pride. The divine nudge, by contrast, usually arrives as a quiet, persistent clarity that brings peace even when the instructions seem difficult or illogical. Learning this difference is the most critical skill a chosen one can possess, as it dictates every move you make on your spiritual journey. Your ego thrives on external validation and the need to be right, often disguising itself as common sense to keep you within your comfort zone. When you feel a push that is rooted in anxiety or a desire to prove yourself to others, you are likely hearing the voice of your past conditioning. Discerning the difference means stepping back and asking whether a thought brings a sense of expansion or a sense of contraction. The divine speaks in the language of expansion, pulling you toward your highest potential, even if the path there is currently shrouded in mystery. The heart serves as the primary antenna for these signals, acting as a filter for the constant stream of information entering your consciousness. You must cultivate a daily practice of stillness to clear the static and hear the frequency of your intuition. This isn't just about meditation, but about a constant state of awareness where you observe your reactions to the world around you. When a direction is truly divine, it resonates with a deep, unshakable knowing in your gut that persists long after the initial thought has passed. Misunderstanding these voices can lead to detours, but even these mistakes are part of the training in discernment. You learn to recognize the flavor of divine guidance through trial and error, noticing how things fall into place when you follow the nudge and how they feel forced when you follow the ego. Over time, you develop a spiritual shorthand with the Creator, recognizing certain signs, patterns, and feelings as unmistakable confirmations. This clarity becomes your greatest protection, allowing you to move through the world with a confidence that isn't dependent on human approval. As your discernment matures, you become less susceptible to the influence of others and more anchored in your own truth. You no longer need to explain your decisions to those who cannot hear the frequency you are tuned to. The ability to discern the voice is what allows you to lead with authority and act with precision, ensuring that your energy is always invested in the right places at the right times. It transforms your life from a series of random events into a choreographed dance with the divine, where every step is guided by a voice that only you were meant to hear. The storms you encounter are never random occurrences of chaos. They are carefully orchestrated environments designed for your spiritual resistance training. Just as physical muscles require the tension of heavy weights to grow, your spirit requires the pressure of adversity to develop the strength needed for your calling. When life feels turbulent, it is a sign that you are being prepared for a higher level of authority that a comfortable life could never produce. You are not being broken by the wind. You are being stripped of everything that is not essential so that your true power can finally emerge. Every challenge you face serves to expose the weak points in your character, allowing you to reinforce them before you reach your ultimate destination. If you were to ascend to your peak without this preparation, the height alone would destroy you. The storm ensures you have the stability to handle the view. You must learn to view every obstacle, not as a sign to stop, but as a curriculum to master. The very things that feel like they are working against you are actually working for you, refining your patience, your resolve, and your unwavering faith. This resistance training is what separates those who merely talk about their purpose from those who actually embody it. Anyone can maintain a positive outlook when the sun is shining, but a chosen one is forged in the ability to remain anchored when the sky turns dark. The storm teaches you the mechanics of your own soul, showing you exactly what you are made of when all external support is stripped away. It is a grueling process, but it is the only way to transform raw potential into a seasoned, unshakable force of nature. The intensity of your recent struggles is a direct reflection of the magnitude of the mission that lies ahead of mine. A small life requires only small tests, but a life of global or spiritual significance requires a crucible that can handle immense heat. You are being conditioned to handle the weight of leadership and the scrutiny of the world. By the time the storm passes, you will find that the version of you that entered the rain is gone, replaced by a version that is more resilient, more focused, and entirely immune to the distractions that once bothered you. Ultimately, you must realize that you are the storm's master, not its victim. You are learning to use the winds of opposition to lift you higher, much like an eagle uses a thermal to soar above the clouds. Once you understand the purpose of the resistance, you stop fearing the clouds and start welcoming the growth they bring. This training is your guarantee that when you finally step into your promised land, you will have the internal architecture to sustain the blessings and the wisdom to use them effectively. The gift of discernment is your internal security system, a divine intuition that operates far beyond the limitations of human logic. It is that immediate vibe check that tells you something is off, even when everything on the surface looks perfect and professional. For the chosen one, this isn't just a feeling. It is a spiritual necessity that protects your energy from those who would drain or misdirect it. Your ability to sense the underlying motives of others is a shield provided to you because your path is too important to be compromised by hidden agendas. Trusting this inner radar is one of the hardest lessons to learn, especially when your mind tries to rationalize away what your soul already knows. You may have been called too sensitive or judgmental in the past, but in reality, you are simply picking up on frequencies that others are deaf to. This sensitivity is your greatest asset, allowing you to navigate complex social and spiritual landscapes with a level of precision that prevents unnecessary pain. When you ignore your discernment, you invite chaos. When you honor it, you walk in a state of divine protection. This gift is not just about identifying the negative, but also about recognizing the authentic. It allows you to find your true tribe and align yourself with opportunities that are genuinely meant for your soul's growth. Discernment acts as a compass, pointing you toward the people and places that vibrate at your same frequency. In a world full of imitations and false promises, your ability to see the fruit of a situation before it even grows is what keeps you on the narrow path of your destiny. Because you are chosen, you will often find yourself in rooms where the energy is heavy or deceptive, and your discernment will be your only guide. It is your responsibility to listen to that sudden urge to leave, to speak, or to remain silent. You are being taught to value your peace over being polite, understanding that protecting your light is more important than catering to the ego of others. Your no is just as sacred as your yes, and it is your discernment that dictates which one to use. As you sharpen this gift, you will find that your life becomes significantly more streamlined and efficient. You stop wasting time on dead-end projects and toxic connections because you can sense the outcome from the very beginning. This clarity is a direct result of your close connection to the source, and it serves as a constant reminder that you are being guided by a wisdom that is not your own. Your vibe check is never wrong. It is the voice of the divine, ensuring that your energy remains focused on the mission you were sent here to complete. Would you like me to continue with the 9th and 10th headings in this same format? As you step back into the world, carry the quiet certainty that your current isolation is merely the preparation for a magnificent unfolding. You have been called to this moment not by chance, but by a divine design that sees your true strength and your hidden potential. Take a breath and ask yourself, which part of your life is the divine asking you to trust more deeply today? For those who feel ready to explore these mysteries further, our membership offers a space for deeper teachings and early access to these messages. To help this light reach others who may be feeling lost in the dark, please write "Chosen" in the comments below. Your journey is sacred, your path is protected, and you are never walking as alone as you think.